Hi, welcome to today's video on posture, brought to you by Erasor. Today we're going to go over the 5 main points for posture. I call them the 5 posture points. Now I have them listed from top to bottom, but as usual we're going to start in the center. So if you notice, I have head on straight, set your wings, plant your pelvis, lengthen your spine, push feet to the ground. So whatever you're sitting on, and I'll do another video in standing, but when you're sitting, you, as usual, you should think of your center, right? Which is your pelvis. Now the pelvis can go back and forth, right? This is called an anterior pelvic tilt. This is called a posterior pelvic tilt. But it can also, because we are in 3D, it can also move like a seesaw. So if you're leaning to the right, okay, I'm pushing down more on my right buttock. So my pelvis is tilted. Or it could be the other way, where the left side is down further. And I'm exaggerating, but believe me, I know when we sit for long periods of time, it's very easy to just, lean on one side. The ball is terrific at giving you feedback. Are you really centered? Now let's look at the third way. So we can either be forward or back with our pelvis. We could be like a seesaw, but also think to where you're driving a car and your right foot is reaching for the pedal. Okay, I'm lifting my foot up, but I'm kind of rotating so my right foot will reach the pedal more. So in effect, your pelvis can rotate this way. All right, so you want to make sure that you plant your pelvis. And PP, plant your pelvis, is a nice way to remember it because I like to simplify things. I like to make things as easy as possible to remember. And everybody learns differently. So I try to give visuals, I try to give words that just, will help you remember. So PP, because that's where, yes, comes out. We want to plant our pelvis. Now let's go back to the top where you want your head on straight, because what are we doing very often? We're looking at our phones, we're looking at our computer, and if we don't have good lighting or good height of the screen, we're going towards the screen or we're squinting. So I like to say, get your head on straight. All right, so if my pelvis is now in the middle, we call that pelvic neutral. Planting your pelvis in pelvic neutral, where you should have a bit of a lumbar curve. We need our curves, right? Curves are good. We want to get our head on straight, which would mean our ear should be in line with our shoulder. So it's not exactly a chin tuck. Some people just say tuck your chin, but it's really pulling that head back. Okay, pulling it back. Your chin should be slightly down. You don't want to be looking up, and you don't want to be looking down very much, but I do say back and down a lot because people are forward and up. So if that helps you, think of back and down and back. And you should have a nice curve at your neck as well. So these two curves, your neck and your low back, should be in, concave. Now, set your wings. What are your wings? Well, actually, they're your shoulder blades, right? When they're winging, we call them wings. If you can imagine an angel, hopefully you're an angel. Think of your wings as being those shoulder blades. Now you want to get them back, right? It's not at the expense of everything else. You don't want to hyperextend your chest or your spine and stick out your chest. You just want to pull those shoulder blades into the position where they're pretty flat. They don't want to be rounded and forward, okay? They want to be closer together and flat while still maintaining that pelvic neutral, right? So you should have a nice little curve in your low back. Your head is on straight. Now lengthen your spine. What does that mean? That means, I like to give this visual because that's another way of learning well so that you can think back. But if you're rolling out dough and you want to make a long snake, right? You're going to roll and roll and roll and roll. But if you want to just stretch it out really quickly, you're going to pull from both ends. If you pull from one end, that dough will be on the floor. So it's when you stretch, you always really want to think about pulling from both ends. So both ends of our spine, you want to think about to elongate it, to stretch it. Yes, you're lifting up, you're trying to reach your head up higher, but you're also pushing down. So pushing that tush, and that's a push tush. Again, I hope you remember it more easily because I'm using catchy, alliteration sometimes, rhyming sometimes, but push your tush down as you lift up, like you're trying to be taller, right? When you go to the doctor's office and they measure you, what do? You stand up nice and tall. Well, do that all the time. And hopefully you won't shrink as much throughout your life. So there you're lengthening your spine. I'm still maintaining these nice curves. My pelvis is in neutral, right? My shoulder blades are set. And now push your feet to the ground, right? Like you're getting ready to go. You don't just want your feet, your legs just to hang out. You want contact. So pushing your feet, and primarily your heels, to the ground, into the ground. You're pushing your tush into the ball. You're lengthening your spine. You're setting your shoulder blades nice and flat. Your wings, set your wings, right? And get your head on straight. So there you have it, the 5 posture points. I hope that helps. Try it. Thank you so much for watching. Practice until it's second nature and then pass it on. Like this video and subscribe for more content. And remember, your self-care is your best health care.